Welcome, Anna, to the podcast. Thank you for being a guest. Um,
Hello.
Hi, Anna. I would love to know, are you well actually?
The honest answer will be I'm on my way
Good.
because for me, being well is not a consistent, something consistent. It's like, you can't be, in my opinion, happy all the time. You can catch the condition of happiness, for example. And after you're moving on, you have some another adventures or something like this. And after you again happy, you know what I mean? So same with wellness, I think. So for now I'm well, but I'm still on my way because I'm still discovering a lot of things about being well for me.
I love that answer. That's so honest and great. And how do you, in maybe just a few sentences or a sentence or two, how do you define wellness when you feel it?
So first of all, it will be physical well-being, right? So when I sleep well, when I nourish myself, when I have a lot of movement during the day, but it's also my mental health as well. And in the past few years, it was like a challenge for me to maintain the mental health balance because actually it's quite good. We are now allowed to speak more about mental health because I remember my time in the medical university when it was like, if you're doing some therapy, you're a strange person. Why are you doing this? Are you having problems? So now finally we have started to talk more about mental health. And for me, it's also how I'm feeling during the day. Am I feeling anxiety or I'm quite confident about what I'm doing? So it's a lot of factors. So it's not about only physical well-being. It's also mental health.
Great. Yeah, I agree. It's the whole picture. And can you tell us a little bit, because you've had quite a fascinating journey through your own, I guess, what you've studied, what you've practiced. Could you tell us about your journey to your current, how you practice as a coach? And obviously you have a million other qualifications as well. So I would love it if you could just tell us a little bit about your journey so far.
So first of all, I studied at medical university for 6 years. And after I did an epidemiology course, it was my seventh year of my education. So I was qualified as an epidemiologist from medical university.
Can you tell us what an epidemiologist is, please?
So it should be quite popular. A position now because usually it's about discovering and doing researchers about viruses and bacteria and all of this, kind of developing some new diseases, infection disease, obviously. So yeah, and epidemiology is also about why we have this type of pathology or why we have this type of bacteria growing up in our society. So it's like generally speaking, a lot of the science about of why this disease is developing or there's some kind of condition developing. But to be good in epidemiology, you need to study a lot microbiology.
Mm.
So in my university study, I did a lot of like microbiology studies as well. So that's why I was not from the beginning, but I was quite. It was quite fascinating topic for me, gut health and all about this, our bacteria living inside us. Wow, what a fascinating
Mm.
thing. So yeah, and I was quite familiar because of my education, because of my background with this topic. And now it's like the part of the science which is rapidly developing, right? And everybody is talking about gut health. And I'm like, oh, I already knew a lot about it. So, yeah. But it wasn't always like this because after I did some years after in my practice after my university, I went to the pharmaceutical company.
Mhm.
And yeah, I have a lot of illusions about this in this industry, because for me, I was like, probably it was like not a child thing, type of thinking, but I was like so excited. So, oh, I will educate doctors how to actually treat people with these new amazing pills. And I was actually promoting antibiotics, which is, oh my God, I really regretted it now. But I'm also very grateful for this part of my journey because I learned a lot about, for example, how their actual allopathic medicine works nowadays, and how to do a good sales, which is a good skill as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it was a big, I was so disappointed because I met a lot of doctors who didn't care about actually treating their patients, and they didn't care about their actual recovery, but they were quite interested in how to earn more money from these patients.
Mm.
And during uh, my years in the pharmaceutical company, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? Because it didn't suit well my actual goals, because I was really excited to study at the medical university. I was really all about helping people. And I was like, yeah. And I was really talking about my whole journey. I was really into preventative medicine
Yeah.
all this time. I don't know why. Probably it's something from my genes. I don't know. But yeah, it's really, it was coming like, it's better to prevent than to cure. We need to prevent this, and after you can feel better. And speaking of pharmaceutical company, it wasn't about actually this. It
Hmm.
was about something else. And I was asking myself, where should I move on? What will be my next step? Because I'm not happy, I'm not well at this moment, because I'm not satisfied of what I'm doing. I was earning a good money, I had a good insurance, I had a pretty nice car. It's all like benefits from pharmaceutical companies, right? But yeah, I think I did quite a, for me, brave step,
Mm.
and I was thinking about doing my own practice, and I returned to my studies about microbiology, about nutrition, because we did study nutrition at the medical university, because I was on the faculty of preventative medicine, so nutrition was a part of my study. And yeah, and I was like actually quite happy, because I realized that now, helping my clients, I can see their well-being improved, and I can see my impact.
Mm.
So I was like, wow, now I am really helpful. It
Mm.
was my point through all these years. It's not about, yeah, there is still a lot of doctors who care about their patients, right? But I was quite disappointed of what type of work I was doing, and what type of cases I used to see. And it turned out I'm more helpful and useful for helping people, like during more naturopathic approach without pills. Because the thing is, in the medical university, you usually study how to treat a symptom, not the root of the problem.
Yeah.
And it's like not a probably a problem of our like educational system in medical universities, because we're looking not like we're not looking at the whole person. We're just starving to treat this one symptom and be done for the day, so we can move on and see next patient. So you don't have time while you're doing your doctor's practice usually to care about this person's well-being. You usually, oh my God, should I do this, or should I give some more pills so this person will be happy, and I can move on. So that's what all it about. Yeah.
And I guess also when you, I mean, one of the risks of treating people in that way, just looking at their symptom, sending them away, they might then, if you're suppressing a bigger problem,
Yeah.
then that same patient will come back to you and you'll have to do something else with them. Did you find?
Dive in
Yeah.
with same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that common, would you say, people coming back with, a different expression of the same, let's call it pathology?
Yeah, it's quite a common issue, I would say. And but another part of the story or angle of the story is that usually patients really want some magic pill,
Yeah.
and they don't want to have some responsibility for their own well-being. It's like, oh, doc, just give me a pill and I will move on. And when you are trying to educate the person, when you're trying, instead of just giving some recommendations, uh, you're trying to give more tools, more educational stories, why you need to drink plenty of water or why you need to do exercise during the day. Because without educational basis, it's nothing. It's just words for the people.
Hmm.
So that's very hard to tell. It's only doctor's responsibility to take care. No, the patient should listen,
Hmm.
and the patient should be the first person who cares about their own well-being. I see it that way.
Yeah. And having seen kind of both sides of it, are you for, do you believe that, there can be a balance? So, for example, someone can surely take the medication they need, but make sure that they're fully taking care of themselves in a holistic way. Do you think it's possible that there are some people who will need both, for example, at the same time?
Sure. Yeah. I think the point is to start before the real condition will develop.
Yes.
So that's why it's really important to have regular checkups, to look after yourself, to listen to your body. Because usually, when I'm asking my clients during our first initial consultation, how do you feel?
Hmm.
Uh, they usually struggle to answer because we're not like listening to, I don't know, how should I feel?
Yeah,
So,
that's interesting. That's so
and
interesting.
a lot of people answering busy. I'm feeling busy. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
but it's not exactly the condition, right? So yeah, I think we're still uh, looking for a balance to combine allopathic and naturopathic medicine
Mm.
to work together. It's not
Mm.
like, oh my God, pharmaceutical companies is help. Like, no way we're doing this. No, they're still quite useful, and there is a lot of benefits coming from pharmaceutical companies, but we are overwhelming with all these treatments. Oh, just take this pill for the headache, for your stomach, and all this. No, okay, we should treat this condition now. We can help you with a pillow,
Mm.
with a pillow, sorry, probably with a pillow, but after, because good sleep is very important, right? So, but after, we need to see the root of the problem, from where this pain is coming from, right? uh, what we should do about our whole lifestyle to treat this condition. It's not about only pills. It's like sleep, eat, move, mental health again. That's
Mm.
how I see it.
What are people, when you give people nutritional advice, when you coach them with their health, what would you say is the thing people are most resistant to? Is it healthier food? Is it more sleep? Is it water? Is it maybe like cutting down on alcohol? Is there one thing people really resist that you find in your experience?
Consistency.
Oh, yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Because usually everyone is ready for this magic Monday to come.
Yeah,
Monday,
Monday,
which
Monday, Monday.
will change everything. And usually people give up during 1 week, 1 month, depends on the person. And that's why mm, I believe, I truly believe, almost everyone needs a health coach,
Mm.
because person needs another person, and we all need support. So I like giving the example when you're posting something on Instagram, and you are waiting for the likes and comments,
Mhm.
and there is nothing, and you're like, "Mm, I shouldn't do it anymore. There is no feedback, right?" But if you posted something and you received a lot of likes and comments and everyone asking you questions, wow, where have you been? How did you do it? You're like, oh my God, people are really interested, and you want to post more. You need to you want to give some more content or to share more information. So it's the same about health, in my opinion. So
Mm.
it's really hard to get along with this journey if you're like alone. if
Mm.
but if you have somebody, it's not always a health coach, right? If you have some friend, but if you have someone who gives you feedback, who is supporting you, you're like, keep doing it. Yeah, you're doing great. Or they're asking you questions, why it's hard for you, or what do you want to change. So it's like a conversation.
Mhm.
We're all, it's not about. And another um, thing I want to mention, that a lot of people trying to achieve their goals, but these goals, it's not exactly their goals. They just copy something, like, copy paste something from the influencer on Instagram, or, oh, my neighbor did it and it worked out well, so I should follow. My only question is why? Did you really ask yourself why you need to do this? So yeah.
That's such a good point. I think so often, especially with social media, it's easy to compare and see what other people are doing, and it looks really great from their perspective. So you think, okay, well, that I'm going to be the same. So I can imagine that you need to have that clear why for your own incentive. Do you have a health coach, Anna, or do you coach yourself?
Uh, Usually I coach myself, but when I realized, I think it was, yeah, it was last year, that I'm really struggling to get back into my training because I had a trauma with my leg
Uh-huh.
4 or 5 years ago, and I didn't do like any sports in 2 years,
Mhm.
and I was dancing for a long time in my like previous life, and I was doing a lot of movement, and after I stopped for 2 years because it was like really painful and I was afraid that it will hurt my leg, and I was like, well, I'm not doing this because I don't know how to return to the gym. And that's why I found a coach, and I had my PT. I still have my PT, and I'm going to the growth classes because, yes, I know all about fitness, like in my perspective, right? But I can't coach myself with weight. For
Mm.
me, I was a dancer my whole life. I don't know anything about weights. I was afraid of the weights, to be honest. And I'm like really touching them, and I'm can work out. I'm like, yes, and I just found out that this area of my life needed a coach, and
Yeah.
that's why I found it. So
Mhm.
usually I can negotiate with myself my healthy eating. So
That's good. That's good. That's
yeah.
very disciplined. And what would a like if you could just tell me what are your sort of daily or regular non-negotiable things that you do to maintain or to be in the way of wellness, if you like?
Mm, to put it simple, I will tell 4 words: nourish, move, and sleep.
Nourish,
Oh,
movement.
okay, and probably make some laugh, because for me it's like a important part of the day to laugh, to have something like funny, to watch some,
Mm.
I don't know, entertainment content. So yeah, be in a
Yeah,
good
laughter's a
mood.
big one. Laughter's a big one.
Yeah, and but the main point here for me, it's like if I'm not feeling quite well, I will not push myself, because probably like 10 years ago or even 6 years ago, I was really hard on myself. Oh no, you should do it. You must do it, whatever it takes, because it's your, I don't know, responsibility or something like this. So I was really hard on myself.
Mhm.
And even now in my therapy with my therapist, I'm still discovering some issues, for example, about my eating behavior in the past, uh, which affected my well-being. So now I am really have a real self-talk in the morning. What are we doing today? And after I will follow. So if it's a Netflix type of day, it will be the Netflix type of the day.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess yeah, that's so great what you say about the self-talk in the morning, just kind of setting yourself up for the day and managing your expectations based on how you're feeling.
Yeah, and not to listen for social media, because if
Mm,
the first thing in my morning, and it happens sometimes, will be my phone,
mm,
it's very hard to have a real self-talk after, because I'm like, uh, this nice coffee or this nice gym or
mm,
flowers, and I can,
mm,
you know,
mm.
I can't feel what I really want to do because it's still like a lot of possibilities.
And what do you think about, as someone who's registered as you're a nutritionist as well as a health coach, aren't you?
Here I'm working as a health coach.
Health coach.
Yeah,
But you're someone with many qualifications and
yeah, yeah.
many million hours of learning. How do you feel, when say when you do log on to Instagram, for example, and you see people who have no training in that field, no kind of qualifications in that field, giving advice, sharing recipes, sharing diet plans? How do you feel about
Um, Quite angry.
that? I like the way you said it very sweetly. Quite angry.
But I do not follow these people.
Okay.
So that's fine. Uh, but it's again about the responsibility from both sides, from the person who shares this kind of tool, right, or some kind of advice, and the person who is taking or no taking this advice or this opportunity to follow.
Hmm.
So uh, I love to say that we need to ask more questions. So, but usually people are sometimes shy or they're not feeling quite confident to ask why you give me these recommendations. And a lot of people don't think that if somehow some tool worked for this person, it doesn't mean it will work well on you, right?
Mhm.
But we usually, so it's awful that we compare ourselves to, it's like, no, you need to achieve your health goals, you need to like put the rest of the world on silent mode and listen to yourself. Should I be tiny, should I be skinny, or I'm okay with my body and it's only social media putting a weight on my shoulders with all this like, oh no, I need to be tiny or I will die, I don't know, unhappy or something like this.
Mm.
Should I eat these green leaves in the morning or I'm okay without it? So it's like yeah, and so yeah, it's all about responsibility. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. No, that's a great, it's so true. I think people have to be empowered to choose who they want to take information from. And earlier you mentioned when I was asking you about how you maintain health and you said you nourish yourself, you're quite good at eating healthily. I mean, as it's you'll probably tell me everyone has a different thing, but are there some things that people could implement right now in their diets that would improve, say, their gut health? Never mind weight, never mind anything like that. But are there like any foods that you could really recommend to improve the health of the gut?
So the key will be diversity of the food. So usually it's not about one broccoli each day or one radish or one carrot, whatever it is. Uh, our gut is so different. So we have a lot of bacteria living inside our body. And to nourish them, we need to bring to food they can work with, right? So I like the idea of rainbow during the week, but a lot of influencers now are saying like 30 vegetables during the week, and I find it quite overwhelming Should
Yeah.
I count? Like, so it's like, oh my God, it's nearly my age. So it's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
it's a lot. So I'm a, like, old school, and I put everything, for example, my health eating plan on the paper. So I usually try to tick out of my box how many vegetables or fruits I had during the week. So for another week, I will change to another type of grocery. So if this week I'm buying carrots, broccoli, and I don't know, turmeric, so next week I will follow. So it's not overwhelming. It's quite a game.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's not about, oh no, because uh, the thing I always discussing with my clients, they're struggling to move to the next step because they didn't do something in their past ideally, like perfect, and
Hmm.
they're like, oh no, I can't move on because I don't have all ticks in all boxes. I should finish, or should I start another game from another Monday? I'm like, no, just keep going.
Mm.
So speaking about food, it's diversity. It's vegetables, fruits, and bringing some fun in your diet. It's not like, okay, I will do some kind of food I love, but first of all, I will represent to myself some new vegetable or some new herb or something like this. Make it
Mhm.
easy.
Make it easy. Well, yeah, exactly. Because people have got to be able, it's got to be sustainable for them.
Yeah.
Um, and how does, as well as having a, as you say, like a good diverse diet, how does stress play a role in the gut health or the lack of gut health?
It's killing it.
Killing it. So someone could have like a really, a good varied diet, but be very high stress. They'd still experience gut issues. Is
Yeah, sure. Especially IBS will be quite common issue. And it's funny, but it's not funny, but in some cases funny, is that it's hard for a lot of people to believe that stress can be a main issue of their issues. So,
yeah.
so they're like, everyone is stressed. And my next question usually, who is everyone? Why
Mm.
we're speaking about everyone? Why is okay to you to be stressed all the time? Oh, come on, everybody is in stress now. No. So staying busy is very easy, but staying well rested, it's a challenge.
Mm.
It's very easy to keep busy during the day. Oh, I need to do this, this, this. But when you're asking people about, do you know how to rest properly? And they're like, and I'm like, it's not Netflix. It's not about something on your phone. What do you do for yourself to be well rested? And it's usually a silence.
If someone, how does someone who can't get, say, the optimal amount of sleep a night, maybe like a new parent, for
Yeah,
example, what do they do? Do they take naps when they can, or is it more a case of
sure.
meditating when they can? Does that have a similar effect to sleep if you can do a really deep meditation, or what can be done for those of us who struggle with sleep?
Naps are great, honestly, but it really depends of what kind of lifestyle we are talking, right? Because it's not for everyone during the day, especially. But make some time for yourself. It's not um, always a meditation, but some walk probably. I just read, I think, last week, a new research about how walking helps us to uh, benefit our brain's function, to think more clearly. So even like, I think in the research it was like 20 minutes walking, and it was like very beneficial for our brain activity. So it's not about uh, resting on the couch, right? It's probably, so the proper rest for a lot of people is just changing the activity.
Hmm.
It's not about like, oh no, I will lie down and just, I don't know, watch on a wall. Change the activity. Do something really new for you. Finding another way to the shop, or probably go for a walk with a friend you didn't see for a past 3 years, something like this. So like it's like, oh, it's really new for me. And because brain activity will change, it will bring another portion of energy, which is much needed in this case.
That's so great. And I guess, even if even people who claim to be very, very busy, say you have, well, not everybody gets the whole lunch hour, but say that, that you spend the last 20 minutes of your lunchtime, whether you're leaving your office or, people working from home, that 20-minute walk is going to benefit their brain function and also help them digest if they've just eaten. So it means they're not.
Yes, yes, definitely. And it will help to lower blood sugar levels. But it's all about priority. If this person really want to find the opportunity to help themselves, they will find it. I truly believe in it.
That's interesting. Do you think some people are a bit addicted to stress?
Yes, and they addicted to be a victim, a position of be a victim, because usually you can hear from some people that yeah, it's a really good advice, but, and usually after but you see a lot of reasons which is not quite real reasons.
Hmm.
They're just, I don't know, excuses for themselves. So um, the key will be to be honest with yourself. If you don't want, if you do not uh, want to do something, be honest with yourself. Okay, it's just not for me. But again, because of social media, it really depends what type of community this person are spending their days. So
Mm.
yeah.
And I guess that's another role for a health coach then, that they can, be that loving guide into saying, like, just to, like, a little bit of a mirror to the person if they are making excuses that are keeping them stuck. But, they've obviously come to you, the health coach, for a reason. They want to change. So you're just giving them that little gentle push in the right direction.
And a good point here will be to know how we can change our behavior. So it's a popular behavior changing model, and it's usually three things that need to come together. It's motivation, ability, and prompts. And the health coach can be really helpful with prompts. So usually, if, as you said now, uh, you already have a health coach, right? So you have motivation and ability to change something, but you need something to make it easy. That's the area where health coach can come out and say, oh, I realize that in your lifestyle will be very beneficial to do this, or this type of workout will suit you for the best. So yeah, it's all about prompts.
Mm.
So how do you find? And it's not only about health coaching. You can find prompts in some kind of well-being community, or if you have some kind of a coincidence that, for example, just one day you forgot to drink your morning coffee, and in the end of the day you realize that you was totally okay during the day, and you felt more energized, and you had a really great ability to do something. So thanks to this happy accident, you realize that, oh, probably I can cut off somehow my caffeine days and I will feel better. But it's again about listening to yourself.
Mm. And when you've worked with someone for a long time and they've really started to benefit a lot from your coaching, do you find that people are surprised by how good they can feel?
Totally. Totally. They're like, oh my God, I should did it like 10 years ago. And I'm like, I wasn't walking in this time, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
it's very beneficial, and it's easier and easier, and it becomes more easier each day. So
hmm.
just keep going.
That's great advice. Yeah. And do you tend to say if someone has let's say, a quite processed diet, they're not sleeping great, they're maybe drinking a lot of alcohol, maybe they're smoking, just all the things that are going to lead to
Yeah,
health problems. Do you tend to go through the route of removing things, or do you get them to add things to the point where they actually end up removing the bad things or the
both ways. First of all, we will need to prioritize what will be the first move. So you can't remove everything and you can't bring a lot of changes. So, for example, you will find in my practice, I will do like this focus of this month.
Mm,
And okay, and after this month, as a follow-up consultation, we will discuss, was it good? What was hard? Should we adapt health improvement plan? And what will be the next step? So it's not about new life just from the beginning. No, because usually I have a lot of clients like they're in their 40s or 30s, whatever, but they had life before, like a long way, way of life. So it's hard to remove everything. Oh no, you did everything wrong. Oh, it doesn't work like this. Yeah,
mm,
and it's quite like, I think it calls art of the small steps when
mm,
you're taking, and it's really a great book. I just finished to read. Uh, just One Thing
mm.
by Dr. Michael Monsley.
Oh,
So
that's
it's a lot of one things, and he explains with like the way with the scientific research, with education, why this one thing can be beneficial. So you can pick up from this book a lot of things that you want to bring in your life, but step by step, quite
yeah.
good.
Ah,
And it's
that's
very simple.
I'm gonna put that. That sounds great. I'm gonna pop that when I make the show notes for this episode.
Yeah, great.
I'm gonna put. And Anna, do you coach one-on-one, or do you do group coaching ever? Do you hold events that I can share?
Uh, I'm doing only one to one because I truly believe in personalized approach. But I can sometimes I do corporate events. So if
Mm,
some company want to educate their employees about well-being, I can do like a webinar or can come into the office. But after, if someone is interested to work with me, it will be one to one
great.
because I don't like this group challenge activity because everyone again. I hate the thing when people are comparing. Uh,
Quite, yeah.
uh,
I guess the group thing can work in some situations, but not when it's so individual as your health.
yeah, the health shouldn't be competitive. So it's like
Mm.
not the same.
That's such a good. The health should not be competitive. And I always like to just going slightly off piste here. Is there anything you do for your well-being that isn't necessarily like an obvious thing? Just something that's a bit fun and joyful that you would love to share with people? I don't know, like could be like singing, dancing, anything like that.
Oh, I just returned to my dance classes in the previous few months, yeah, because I was dancing a lot and it was like part of my life for a long time. But again, because of my trauma, I didn't do it. But after I found a coach and I did strength training, now I can return to my dance classes and it's still great for me. So, yeah, the thing is, it's mm, probably everyone should try therapy
Yeah.
because usually
Love that. Wait,
and
they
and
would.
the society will be much more happy when we will
Yeah.
all doing mm, our way to our own well-being, but not because usually you can see if uh, uh, I'm doing therapy, and I think with some poses like for 12 years now.
Mm,
I did some like for 1 year I stopped, but it's like a journey for me, and you develop such a lot of things about yourself, and it's so beneficial, and it's quite important to know yourself first, then after you can ask another people.
mm-hmm.
And I love to work with my clients who are in therapy as well,
Mm,
because they're doing with me some more about things about mm, their physical condition, right? But if they're doing some work in their mental health, yeah, probably it's a boring answer, but yeah, therapy is the
No, it's not
answer.
boring at all. I think it's a great answer. And yeah, because we can look after our physical bodies, but you've got to look after the mind as well.
Sure.
Great. Well, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you, Anna, and thank you for sharing all of your wisdom. I'm going to put, if it's okay with you, a link to your website in the show notes. I'm sure
Yeah.
you're very, very busy and maybe on a wait list, but but I'll
But
pop
I'm
it.
happy to help. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'll pop it in nonetheless. And yeah, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.